most people booking a Hawaii trip make a similar mistake. They either don't book enough time and regret it, or they try to see too many islands and spend half of their time in airports. Well, in this episode, you'll discover the exact formula for choosing your Hawaii trip length based on real travel data and personal experience, and why this one planning decision really determines whether you spend your vacation stressed in airports or actually relaxed on island time. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best. I'm Brian Murphy, Hawaii destination expert and your guide to planning an unforgettable trip to Hawaii. Today, we're breaking down one of the, most single planning mistakes that can affect both first-timers to Hawaii and repeat visitors. And that's choosing your trip length based on what sounds good instead of what actually works. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how many days you need, why most people book it wrong, and the simple formula that matches your vacation days to your travel goals. So let's go ahead and get right into it with probably the most common scenario, and that's your first trip to Hawaii. For your first trip to Hawaii, I would highly recommend at least 7 days as a minimum for your stay. And first, it's really about the travel time. West Coast flights from Southern California all the way up to the Pacific Northwest takes about 6 hours. Our trip over this time was about 5.5. That's typically what we get. And on the way back, the fastest I've ever gotten back from Honolulu was 4 hours and 30 minutes. That was pretty fun. A lot of tailwind, a lot of bumps, but got home quick. And I think the longest time it took to get over there was probably around 6.5 hours. So that's just from the West Coast. Now, East Coast travelers, you face 11 to 14 hours total. And that's really a full day gone right there on each end of your trip. So you land, you're tired, you pick up your rental car, you get to the hotel, resort, you grab food. That first day is basically a wash. And then there's jet lag. Hawaii is about 2 to 6 hours behind the mainland. And so your body really needs that time to adjust. And just a note, Hawaii doesn't do the daylight savings time thing. So they don't change their time. They're just Hawaii standard time. Most people feel it for at least a day or two. And right there, you've lost another day just getting your internal clock sorted out. You're going to be waking up early in Hawaii those first few days. So maybe just another tip kind of on top of this section would be if you want to do a sunrise tour or you want to, get out there and you do a Haleakala sunrise, you want to book it that first or second day because your body's naturally going to want to get up early. And that's why I usually recommend 7 days is the minimum. You get about 5 full days on the ground in Hawaii, depending on the island you're visiting. And after, that's kind of after travel and adjustment time. So 5 days really gives you space to see everything you wanted to see for the most part. Hit the beaches, take a trip or two, and still have time to relax because that is important. You don't want to stack all of those days back to back. Really, here's the rule that trips a lot of people up is stick to one island. Trying to island hop on a short trip like a 5 to 7 day is really one of the biggest mistakes you can make, I think, especially for your first time, not knowing what to expect. Those inner island flights are only, 20 to 50 minutes in the air, but the total process time it takes to get, you get 2 to 3 hours when you factor in airport, security, baggage, rental cars. That's really like half your day right there is spent in transit. And that's really not worth it, especially for your first trip. If you're just doing 7 days, you want to maximize your time as much as possible. So if you can stretch to 10 days, that's where things can get really good. 10 days on one island really lets you explore the different sides. Most islands have a wetter side, kind of the windward side and a drier side, leeward side, and they feel completely different. So if you have 10 days, you're not rushing. You can take a day to rest, be spontaneous when you want to be. That's really the sweet spot for a trip. I would say 7 to 10 days. Once you hit that 10-day mark, you can maybe start flirting a little bit with, an island hop. Technically, you can do island hop if, 7 day. But if you're traveling with a large family or just a family in general, you got kids, grandparents, that's going to take up a lot of forethought and a lot of energy, not just time in the air, the 20 minutes or so. Now, if you have 2 weeks, this is really our sweet spot. We love doing 2 weeks. I think now that our girls are older, we have 3 girls, teenagers and a 10-year-old. We usually do like a 10-day. We used to do 14, 16 days, which was awesome. But right now we can kind of get away with, 7 to 10 days, which is great. But really, if you have 2 weeks, this is really where Hawaii really opens up. Then this is where you can really start exploring the neighboring islands. If you're on Oahu, maybe this is where you can start doing some island hopping. And the guideline is simple. If you have 2 weeks, pick 1 week per island. 2 weeks means 2 islands. 3 weeks means 3 islands. That's kind of a simple rule of thumb. Now, it's not something you have to stick to, but it's something I definitely would recommend. If you have 14 days and you want to do 3 islands, that's really going to be pushing it. You can comfortably do 2 islands in 2 weeks. The benefits go beyond just seeing more places with this island hopping 2-week extravaganza. You get weather flexibility. If it's raining on one side, you can shift plans. And if a trail is closed, you're not stressed because you have time to come back when it's maybe open next week. You also can discover things that aren't on the typical tourist checklist. So, you got a local coffee shop that everyone loves. Take some time on Yelp and do some digging into finding those local spots. And you're going to maybe find a beach that's not crowded, the food truck locals line up for. And you might even get to know some people there as you frequent some of these spots, which can be really cool, especially if you come back over and over next year or in the years to come. 2 weeks really gives you permission to slow down. You can take a rest day without feeling like you're wasting your vacation indoors or at the resort. And you can stay up late at a luau and sleep in and not feel guilty about it because you got to get to the next thing. You can also change plans if someone tells you about a spot you've never heard of, which happens frequently, at least when we travel, talking to locals there and people we know and people we're meeting for the first time and hearing about a new spot. That's how we came across B-Side Kitchen on the island of Oahu, a great local spot to eat outside of Waikiki on the east side. Now, that's really the value of a longer trip. It stops being about a checklist and starts feeling like you actually kind of live there for just a little while. You get it really, I talk about on the podcast a bit, just feeling the vibe and the feel and the pace of the island. Really, 2 weeks gives you that feel and that pace. Just a disclaimer though, after 2 weeks, it's going to be harder to leave. You're going to feel this tug, this pull as you take off and you see the islands start to disappear. And that's real. So 2 weeks really gives you that sense of Hawaii blues, if you will. Now, let's get a little bit more specific about each island, because each island, I think, requires or warrants different types of amounts of time. Oahu, you can do 5 to 7 days. Oahu is the most developed island. 5 to 7 days is really the sweet spot. 5 is, I think, really pushing it. One time, my wife and I, we did 5 days. We actually did 5 days in Maui, and it was actually perfect because it was just the two of us. We weren't managing our kids as well. So a 5-day couple trip, especially if you live on the west coast of the mainland, that's probably a little bit more doable. But anyway, Pearl Harbor requires advanced reservations. The North Shore has famous surf beaches and food trucks. Waikiki and Honolulu offer, you got city life, shopping, restaurants, nightlife, all that good stuff. You got hikes like Diamond Head and PCC, Polynesia Culture Center. Really, it's a great island that you can get a lot done within a week. And everything is relatively close together on Oahu. You can stay in one place and day trip without spending all day in your car. If you're staying in Waikiki, you can do North Shore for the day or even drive up on the east side over and go up to Turtle Bay, go up to North Shore that way. Or you could cut through, the center of the island. But everything is relatively close. 7 days really gives you enough time to hit all the major spots and still have time for beach days and relaxation. Now, Maui, I think you need about 7 to 8 days on Maui. Maui really needs a full week is what I'm trying to say. The road to Hana itself takes a full day. You got 3 hours each way if you're going to do the whole thing. Dozens of stops, waterfalls, beaches, scenic lookouts. You can't really rush it. I actually did an episode about whether you should even drive the road to Hana. So I'll link that below. I just kind of lay out some more points on that if you're considering doing road to Hana. Haleakala National Park requires reservations up to 60 days in advance. So that's for sunrise. I don't think they require sunset reservations right now, but for sunrise, they do for sure. And the resort areas are Wailea, that's on the south shore, and then Kaanapali on the west side are on opposite sides of the island. And then if you add snorkeling spots and whale watching between usually December, January through March, April, really 7, 8 days, 9 days, full week is what I'm saying, lets you experience both adventure and relaxation on Maui. The Garden Isle, Kauai, I would say is about 7 days. The Nepali coast is really the main attraction. It's those dramatic cliffs that you see really in so many Hawaii photos. I think we even have it on our Instagram. The best way to see the cliffs is by catamaran tour, helicopter, or a challenging hike, which I necessarily wouldn't recommend. So really, you got either by boat or by helicopter, and that requires most of the day. So if you want to see Nepali coast, that's 1 day right there. Waimea Canyon is another big attraction on the west side of Kauai. It's the nickname is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, and it's stunning. It gives that awe. I remember stepping up to Waimea Canyon for the first time and just being in awe. I actually saw Waimea Canyon before going to the Grand Canyon, and both gave me that sense of just awe and like, wow, this is amazing. But that takes, several hours right there. The island of Kauai definitely has a wet side and a dry side that feel completely different. The roads are slower, a bit windier than you think. So 7 days really gives you time to see both coasts without feeling rushed. It's a slower paced island. We like Kauai. We like doing a couple days on Kauai. Like if we're going to island hop, a couple days on Kauai, I'd say 4-5 days for us are pretty good. Just the pace for our family starts feeling a little slow. And then we get over to Oahu or wherever. Now on the big island of Hawaii Island, I would recommend at least 7 to 10 days. Kind of like same as Maui, you want the full week. The big island, it's huge. It's bigger than all of the Hawaiian islands combined. You need at least 7 days, but 10 is better. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, that's a full day or more. Black sand beaches, green sand beaches, white sand beaches. The Kona side is dry and sunny. Typically, that's where a lot of the resorts are, and the majority of the resorts. In the Hilo side, it's wet, it's tropical. Mauna Kea has snow. You want to get up there. It's cool. I don't think I could do it more than once. But we also did some coffee farm tours on the foothills there in Kona. Epic waterfalls and really some of the best snorkeling in Hawaii. And you can also swim with monorails. That's one of the biggest attractions on the Big Island is night snorkeling with monorails. So check that out. That's something worth doing. And if you are doing that, snorkeling, just kind of another side note, is you want to wait at least, experts say, at least 72 hours after a long flight. And I'll put that study down in the show notes below. And you can read that and make your own decisions as an adult and how you want to do that if you're planning on snorkeling after a long flight. But really, the distances are real on the Big Island. It takes about 2.5 hours just to drive from Kona to Hilo side. So a rental car is non-negotiable. That you pretty much you need to rent a car on the island of Hawaii. 7 days really gets you the highlights. 10 days really lets you explore, maybe come back to a spot. And if you only have a week, you want to think about what you're after. You want to do volcanoes and diverse landscapes. I definitely would recommend the Big Island. Beaches, resorts, I would lean towards Maui. Nature, hiking, I would lean towards Kauai. And really, honestly, Oahu has a lot of all that. And that's why we honestly love Oahu as our main island we visit. I know it gets a bad rap from Waikiki. We hardly ever even go into Waikiki. Oahu can give you a lot of these as well. Let's talk a little bit about budget now. Your flight to Hawaii is a fixed cost. So whether you stay 5 days or 10 days, that plane ticket is going to cost the same regardless of the day. Spreading a $1,000 flight over 10 days makes a lot more sense than spreading it over 5. And the average daily cost in Hawaii is around $267 per person. And that's not including your flight. That's hotels, food, activities, rental car. So yes, a longer trip costs more total, but when you factor in that fixed flight cost, the per day value gets better the longer you stay. I'm not trying to justify it for you, but the math can work if you play around with the math just right. So a well-placed trip, 7 days minimum, 10 if you can swing it, really gives you breathing room. You can take a rest day without feeling guilty. You can sleep in, really get your body acclimated to the new time. You can change plans. That's the difference between stress and an actual vacation. So really the 3 key rules I just would love to leave you with in planning your Hawaii trip. Rule number 1, to start with 1 week for one island. That's really your baseline. It accounts for travel time, jet lag, and gives you enough days to actually experience the island. Rule number 2, don't island hop on a short trip. If you got less than 10 days, you can maybe do it in 10 days, but less than 7 days, stay put. That inter-island flight eats up a lot more time than you think, even though it says it's only 20-some minutes from Oahu to Kauai. It's going to eat up a lot more time than you think. Rule number 3, match your time to your goals. Seeing multiple islands means 1 week per island. Going deep on one island means you want to try to shoot for at least 10 days. A long weekend means picking Oahu or Maui and focusing on just the highlights. That's what Allie and I did, my wife. But really my final thought on all of this is that quality beats quantity every time, is what I'm saying. Hawaii is not checking off the list of doing Disney and trying to make sure you do all the attractions and all the parks. Hawaii is so much more than that. It's not a place that you conquer. It's a place you get to experience. The Aloha spirit isn't something you just check off the list. It's something you feel when you slow down enough to notice it. When you talk to locals, when you talk to Hawaiians, yes, there's a difference there. And when you sit on a beach and just catch the waves or just lay down on your beach towel, and when you take a wrong turn and find something beautiful you weren't looking for, that's really the magic. And that's a lot where memories are made. You can't do it all if you're rushing. So give yourself enough time, plan smart, and let Hawaii be Hawaii. So for more detailed guides on planning your trip, or if you want one-on-one consultation with me, you can head on over to hawaiisbesttravel.com and find that. And I've got a full breakdown of each island, packing lists, and tips to help you plan your trip that's right for you. So thanks again for listening. And until next time, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to Hawaii's Best. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure to hit follow on your podcast app so you don't miss future episodes. You can find all links and resources mentioned today in the show notes below. Hawaii's Best is produced by Shorebreak Media Group, edited by Easy Podcast Solutions, and with music by our friends Stick Figure.